Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. We now have Dolphin, I believe it's Dolphin Entertainment. Yep, Dolphin Entertainment with Bill here. Let's give him a round of applause.
Oh. Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. It's our first time at Planet MicroCap, and appreciate the invitation. It's good to see some familiar faces in the room, and a lot of people I haven't met yet, so appreciate that. I usually do these presentations assuming you haven't been introduced to Dolphin, but I'll leave time at the end for those who have and have more specific questions. But just to introduce our company to you and leave some room at the end. So thank you, Yas, for the introduction. And here we go, Dolphin Entertainment. Assuming, maybe I have to point this way. I'll ask Yas for help since the direction arrows are not. Watch the magic fingers make it work. Haha, it wasn't me. Oh no, I can do it. Yeah. Woo! So Dolphin was founded in 1996 in Miami, Florida, second bedroom of mine. And for the first 20 years, we produced television mostly. We had a first look deal over at ABC when I started the company. And then fast forward for 20 years, we produced TV movies, miniseries. We're most known for a partnership we had for a decade or so with Nickelodeon, kids programming, family programming. Got into feature films, did a Justin Bieber documentary, and a movie with Mattel, sadly not Barbie, and digital programming. And it was in the course of doing the features that we had and saw the idea of where we thought the world was going in terms of both the rise of social media and what were then called mommy bloggers that became influencers that are now more commonly referred to as creators, and the ability to market directly to the consumer. And then coupled with the fact that Disney had announced that they were going to pull their content off of Netflix. And everyone in the world knew that they were going to start their own streaming service. So a direct consumer application, right? So we had the idea of what would happen if we could build a group of earned media marketing companies around entertainment and then use that reach to market either A, our own assets, or B, take equity stakes in other people's assets for the reach that we could create to the US consumer. So in 2017, we bought the cornerstone, a company called 42 West, and I'll walk you through because it's an interesting time in our company's evolution. We finished building the group. The group that we set out, we announced at a conference just like this in December of 2016, the specific types of companies we would want. So the first one, boom. Well, I'll skip that slide. 42 West. So everyone you'll see on here is a client. Most people know that fellow. Amanda Lumberg is the CEO, co-founder of 42 West. And 42 West is an extremely well-known company in Hollywood. We have a couple of different divisions. Talent, of course, like Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Scorsese, JB Smoove, if you like anybody, Curb Your Enthusiasm fans. But they also have the industry's most powerful content marketing PR division, movies and TV. I don't know how many Best Picture Oscars they ran the campaigns for. Most years we have dozens of Oscar nominations. We've had 2 years with 100 or more Emmy nominations. Represent everything from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel to Schitt's Creek when it became the first series to sweep the Emmys, to Do You Like Succession, White Lotus, Michael White's a client, you get the idea. So with them as a cornerstone out of our background in film and TV, we could build a group because other companies would want to be the sister agency to 42 West. Called a mentor of mine out of Harvard Law School, a guy named Don Passman. He's a extremely well-known music attorney, and he referred me to Shorefire and Marilyn Laverty, who's nothing short of a legend in music. Marilyn took her signature client, I guess you'd say, from Sony Music, where she was an in-house publicist, a guy named Bruce Springsteen, and started a company about 35 years ago called Shorefire Media, that is the world's largest music PR firm. To pair it with 42 West, we have hundreds of acts in every possible genre. Again, this agency is just incredible in terms of the number of Grammy nominations we have every year in every category, and consistently win Best New Artist and build campaigns around people that that are burgeoning stars. So you can see some of the musicians that we represent, but also they represent live events. So for many years now, the Super Bowl Music Fest, Summerfest out of Milwaukee, et cetera, that'll come back in the story. We wanted that skill set with this PR firm. The third and final PR firm we wanted was the category of culinary. In my 25 years in business, this is one of the things like sushi that has really come into national prominence. Remember, I'm old enough to remember when sushi wasn't a thing. But Rachel Ray is a client, obviously, and this is an agency started by Lois and Charlie that both come out of traditional PR, interestingly, and started a culinary PR firm. Lois, very powerful music PR executive. Best friend Charlie was TV and had a client named Rachel Ray that was starting a daytime talk show. And boom, the rest was history. And they built the nation's foremost culinary, hospitality, consumer product PR. And somebody's trying to break out of prison next door. Bam, bam. What they do, and what's particularly interesting with culinary and hospitality, these celebrity chefs, right? The Food Network really started. How many here have been or watched the Food Network? So not everyone's a foodie. So, okay, so Guy Fieri, Emeril Lagasse, who's a client, John George, Robert Irvine, et cetera. They're celebrities in their own right, in their own world, and they also launch a lot of consumer products. If anybody's from New York, Carbone, their consumer product line is a client. And through this PR firm, we could have access into launching consumer products across multiple categories. And of course, when you have celebrity chefs, you're going to get into the hotel and hospitality business because the fancier hotels, here in Vegas included, want those restaurants to draw in customers. So we have many hotel lines and boutique hotels and award-winning hotels from big to small that are clients as well. And so you can see some of those clients. So now you got all three PR firms you want, right? You're done? No, you're not done. Because in 2024 America, PR, which used to be the only thing that was we meant by earned media, needs to be paired with influencer marketing. Influencer marketing is the jelly to peanut butter and jelly that comes with PR. You cannot market content, live events, consumer products today unless you have an influencer campaign, period, full stop. Period. Did I say period? I meant period. So we bought a company called Be Social in August of 2020, founded by Ali Grant. Bought a company called, Be Social was LA only. Bought a company called Socialite, run by Sarah Boyd, that was East Coast and West Coast, but primarily East Coast. And bought them in 2022, merged them in 2023, and we think we've got the entertainment industry's leading influencer marketing company. Multiple clients on the right, many former Bachelor and Bachelorette contestants, as well as a wide variety, over 200 influencers on roster in a talent management division. But we also have a second division that represents brands. So we'll run design campaigns and run campaigns for Molson Coors, for Keurig Dr. Pepper, for H&M that may or may not use our influencers. So we have both sides of the equation, if you will. And I realized back on the door, if I could, I forgot to mention they also do live events just like Shorefire. So we do South Beach Food and Wine, New York Food and Wine, et cetera, because that's going to come back in the story. So now that you got these great PR firms, and by the way, I should point out that the last time the New York Observer ranked PR firms, top 50 in the country, any discipline, all three of ours made the list. No other company had more than one. 42S was number 2 in the country behind a real estate firm in New York, most powerful firm in entertainment, multiple years running. It really shows the power of that group, and no one else has the group. You can reach the consumer through almost any form of entertainment. And in today's day and age, that's saying something. Lastly, there's a third prong, a third leg to our stool we wanted, which we just acquired in October. You saw we were buying a company a year. And the last one we bought is this company called Special Projects, because you have PR, you have influencer marketing, and then pick your term of choice, experiential marketing, live events. The ability to do events wherein bringing celebrities or influencers to them is part of the cachet. Special Projects, they run the Motion Picture Academy, the people that give out the Oscars, their museum gala every year. That was taken 2 years ago. This is Nicole Vecchiarelli, Andrea Oliveri, two very senior seasoned executives come out of Condé Nast. They're magazine editors, multiple titles, and they named the company Special Projects because that's what the publication world calls events. So they've had signature clients, very high end. Condé Nast has been a client from day one. Of course, Wall Street Journal. I imagine everybody in the room reads it. You probably heard of or been to the Innovator Awards. Those were designed by Andrea and Nicole. They populate them. They bring the celebrities. They bring the award winners. Put the celebrities on the Wall Street Journal magazine cover. They booked Travis Kelce for his first interview after he started, what's her name, dating. That type of thing is what they do. They work across entertainment. Like I said, the Motion Picture Academy, I think they ran 5 different events, Oscar week. They do high-end fashion. We had, I think, also 5 events during New York Fashion Week. They ran the Chanel store opening for jewelry and fine watches. I'm sure many of you would like to go check out on Fifth Avenue. But Gucci, Valentino, Versace, these are their clients. And have just a tremendous clientele that requires celebrity attendance or influencer attendance. We also have a boutique creative agency as well, Viewpoint, that allows us to create our own assets that we need for campaigns. But now that and Dave Shillelagh is the general manager of it, and they come out of the TV world and did the Game of Thrones ads and things of that nature, that would allow us to utilize their skill sets. Okay, so I'm about to get into, if you had this group, what would you do with it? But just to give you a couple of quick highlights from the end of last year, we recorded record revenue, is what we reported in the K. We're reporting our Q in 2 weeks. We're very confident about the numbers we're going to post. Turned positive adjusted operating income in the fourth quarter. Expect to be that from this point forward, now that the group's complete. And of course, in the fourth quarter, we acquired Special Projects. All right, so you have this group. And for 7 years, I asked these rooms, we're building it. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. What would you do with it? And if the answer was, hey, increase revenue by 10, 12% a year, increase your bottom line by 10, 12% a year, woo! If that's what we were going to do, we would just stay private. I mean, being this public company CEO is just a trip, right? So we could all just contract with each other and been friends, all 7 companies. The point of putting the group together and why each one of these companies would actually agree to join. And by the way, I say 7 companies because we had the merger. We bought, here it is again. We bought 8 companies. I think the most telling fact is that we only made 8 offers. So those companies, primarily led by women founders, wanted to join this group. Why? And the single sentence that probably sums it up best is because have you ever designed something from scratch for a client, seen it succeed beyond their wildest expectations and got nothing for it? What would happen if you could take an equity stake in what you are marketing? And the way to get an equity stake in it is by having the group that's unique, that gives certain types of ventures the greatest likelihood of success. And that's been our North Star. We want to own assets, either outright or pieces of assets, where our form of marketing gives us the greatest chance of success, gives anyone the greatest chance of success. So what are those assets? Begs that question, right? Content, consumer products, and live events. Content, because that's my legacy. Not my legacy, I just mean the company's legacy. When we were a private company for 20 years, that's what we knew. And we were very successful at it and privately financed certain types of content. So let's talk about one of those. So, sorry, I forgot the next slide. So the core focus is, if you're coming into our company now and haven't heard of us for the last 7 years as we were building this group, then great, you can take us from today when the group is finished and we're starting and all these catalysts are coming down the road. And when I say coming down the road, I mean like in 10 days. So we have 3 major things happening, right? We're at the start. Somebody said, oh, you finished. No, we think we're at the starting line. We put the group together so we could do what I'm now going to describe for the next 10 years and build a portfolio of assets that we think have tremendous value. So let's talk about what we're doing, because we have examples in each of those three categories of assets that we would not have had if I spoke to you a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We're still building the group. First, in content, how Dolphin built itself was with 50-50 partnerships with other studios or networks. We created one with IMAX. IMAX was looking for to start or create original content that could put in IMAX theaters for those weeks during the year when there isn't a studio movie to put in. And their leadership wanted to do it with documentaries, and I was very interested in that because we had some exposure to that before. I mentioned we made a Justin Bieber documentary. And 42West is the unquestioned leader in promoting documentaries. So we entered into that partnership, and sometimes when you're 7 feet tall and Irish, I should have said that off the top because everybody asked me 5 times later, how tall are you? You play basketball? I'm 7 feet tall. Yes, I play basketball. Yeah, I think you have to, actually. Sometimes when you're 7 feet tall, I was going to say in Irish, you get lucky. And the very first one out of the gate with the Blue Angels has been a real hit for us. We announced the partnership at Cannes Film Festival, May of 22. We were there to promote Top Gun. We had a flyover arranged during the premiere. I always like to joke about this because we had the F-18s. They were flying the same jets, and they were trailing smoke, red, white, and blue. And everybody said, "Man, that's really cool. You did that." Everybody thought it was for USA. Well, that was the French flag. We were in Cannes, France. They were French jets, but nonetheless, we announced this partnership the next day. And of course, Top Gun became the movie of the summer. We had the documentary on the real Top Gun, Blue Angels, out of Pensacola, Florida. And we had a bidding war for the movie. I was following the Blue Angels for a year. It goes in theaters May 17th. It goes on Amazon. Amazon won the bidding war May 23rd. We've reported that we expect a 75% plus ROI just from the Amazon deal on the investment we made. We put up half the money, IMAX put up half the money, and this is a multi-year, multi-project partnership. And just because we can, we'd like to show you the trailer. That for a documentary, albeit we announced it on the Today Show because we have that type of press power, 2 million views in the first 24 hours. Check it out. Over 10 million views off for a week.
You gotta push the I believe button. You take off. You gotta push the I believe button.
I fell in love with aviation at 4 years old. My dad took me to an air show, and I fell in love with aviation at 4 years old. My dad took me to an air show, and I got to watch the Blue Angels fly for the very first time.
This year, we're bringing 5 new people into this team. Something I never thought was actually going to happen.
It's 1 in a million.
We only have 3 months to get to a point where we can take it on the road.
It can be frustrating at times. The challenge is to get the newbies up to speed, and that can be scary. When you're flying 12 inches apart, everybody's lives are in each other's hands.
It's an eye-opener for how inherently dangerous this job is.
Ready, roll, hat.
Every once in a while, the jets just kind of freeze, and the world around you seems to spin.
To make 6 jets fly as one, that's the Blue Angel magic. I just pinched myself when I get a chance to be part of it.
With all these things that I've done.
That's Blue Angels, and like I say, there's no risk on that table. We've already sold to Amazon, and we get to keep the film in IMAX institutional theaters, the Smithsonian, the museums, and all for eternity, and it becomes an annuity for us. We keep that money with IMAX. Very excited for that. We'll have more of those to come. Consumer products. Well, we can probably all think of categories of consumer products that entertainers influence. I don't know if there's one that's more prevalent than liquor. The Door is, we think, the nation's foremost PR firm for liquor. We have tremendous clientele, as you heard, and do have a tremendous relationship with Southern Wine and Spirits, the largest distributor in the country. And we thought we would start our own slate of liquors that we have marketing partnerships or asset stakes in. we were conscious to start with one of our celebrity clients, Rachel Ray. And why? Well, besides Rachel being an A+ celebrity and known to so many tens of millions of Americans from 17 years of having her own talk show, she's a chef. And we thought we'd start with gin because why? Gin is the liquor that needs a recipe. And she wrote the recipe for Staple Gin. She's the face of Staple Gin. It's in market today in New York State. It's available nationally online, and we expect to have a pretty big announcement about it before we report our earnings May 15th. We're very excited for it. We think we have something special with both Rachel's ability to promote it and the authenticity she brings to it by being a chef and picking the recipe, like I said, which those are the ingredients which are on the label. And I always wanted to know what, some of those taste like. All right. And then so we think that the liquor category has so many examples of successful exits. Each of these is being built to exit. We want to build the brand and then flip it. The Door has been the PR firm for a couple of those that have exited in the last 3 or 4 years. Their clients that would then sell to Diageo, Pernod Ricard, Bacardi, etc. And that's what we're trying to do here. And I expect we'll have 1 or 2 of these a year that we launch if we're trying to launch 2 to 4 consumer products with our clients. Liquor will be a staple, no pun intended, of what we do. Another one that will probably be once a year or so will be skincare. When we acquired 42West, Kylie Jenner was a client. Obviously, and for this room, many know that she was the youngest person that Forbes called a billionaire from her cosmetics line. There are many examples over the last 40 years of influencers or celebrities that have started cosmetics, skincare, hair care, beauty products generally. We think it's a category that's ripe for us. We brought in Susan Yara in January. Susan, if you're not familiar with her, is an influencer. She, even though she's 40 years old, she's an OG, started her own YouTube channel on makeup called Mixed Makeup back in 2014, decided to start her own product in the summer of 2020, called it Naturium. No paid marketing, only earned media, just like us. Only influencer marketing and a dabble of PR. Promoted it, did well. 3 years later, this past summer, she sold it to Elf Beauty for $355 million. She came in with her group of 15 dermatologists. She's not a dermatologist. Came into the digital department. We rep her and them, and we'll launch other skincare products together. Susan's semi-retired, as you might imagine, and consults with us to launch these products. And we'll do that hopefully for the rest of the time. I need better skincare myself. And lastly, we have MasterCard Midnight Theater. This is towards live events. We'll have a whole slew of announcements on live events by the end of the year. Once we have special projects fully integrated, we'll start the live events in 2024 as well. But we did build a theater in Manhattan. And if you're familiar with Manhattan, it's between 9th and 10th Avenues, between 31st and 33rd. That's Moynihan, the train station. This is Hudson Yards, and MasterCard Midnight Theater is right there in the plaza. It's Brookfield's $4.5 billion complex, their largest in history. And it is both under one roof, both a restaurant and a theater. We can do 150 seats, state-of-the-art, 270-degree projection map walls. We can do everything from magic, stand-up comedy, Broadway cabarets, et cetera. And we'll announce a partnership with IMAX to broadcast live performances from Midnight Theater into IMAX theaters around the globe. Getting back to one asset helping another. All right, so that's the presentation. Oh, and I meant to say too, obviously we put some performances in there and some of the clients that have come in for private events, and we've done more than a few premieres. That one's for NBC Universal, Pete Davidson and Kaylee Cuoco. And then of course I had to end it on the 7-footer, Kevin Durant and his Showtime documentary on basketball. Bam. I know we're at the end of time. Any questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I'll look forward to the next Planet MicroCap. Hope you guys have a good day.